The seating chart was just a piece of paper, a simple diagram of circles and names. But on my wedding day, I decided to turn that piece of paper into a bomb, and I was the one lighting the fuse. She thought she was being clever, inviting her ex-lover behind my back. She thought I'd never find out. Well, she thought wrong. What she didn't realize was that her little betrayal would be met with my own tiny change. A change that would put her lies on display for all 200 of our guests and burn her world to the ground. But let's back up a bit. You're probably wondering how a love story ends in a ballroom full of screaming, finger-pointing, and the kind of drama you only see in movies. To really get how we got there, we need to rewind. Back to when I actually thought Sarah was the love of my life. If you enjoy stories where karma cuts the final check, you'll want to stick around for this. I met Sarah 4 years ago. It was one of those corny, perfect moments. We both reached for the same book at a local coffee shop. We laughed, we talked for hours, and by the end of the day, I had her number and a feeling in my gut that this was different. She was gorgeous, smart, driven, and had a laugh that could make you forget every problem you had. Our relationship was a total whirlwind. We traveled, we made a home together, we even adopted a goofy golden retriever. We were that couple, the one our friends would point to as proof that true love was real. After 3 years, I just knew. I took her right back to that same coffee shop, my heart pounding out of my chest, and got down on one knee. When she said yes with tears streaming down her face, it was the happiest moment of my life. The wedding planning kicked off almost immediately. Sarah went into overdrive, obsessing over every tiny detail, from the napkin colors to the font on the invitations. I was just happy seeing her so excited. I was paying for most of it, which I was glad to do. I wanted to give her the wedding of her dreams. I trusted her completely, and that was my first mistake. The first crack in our perfect little world showed up about 3 months before the wedding. I got home from work early and heard her on a hushed phone call in her office. The second she saw me, she snapped her laptop shut and hung up, brushing it off as a vendor with a silly question. A week later, I was on our wedding website confirming the final guest list when I saw a name I didn't recognize, Mark Jennings. I asked Sarah who he was. "Oh, that's just Mark," she said, not even looking up from her phone. "An old friend from college. It would have been rude not to invite him." But my gut was screaming at me. I'd never heard her talk about a Mark, ever. That night after she was asleep, I did something I swore I'd never do. I opened her laptop. Her email was already up, and there it was, a folder labeled Old Times. It wasn't about old times. It was an email thread with Mark going back months. It started out innocent enough, but the messages got intimate fast. They talked about their past, the what-ifs, and how much they missed each other. But the last email from Mark, sent just 2 days before, made my blood run cold. It said, "I can't wait to see you in your dress, beautiful. After the wedding, we can finally be together for real this time, just like we planned." My whole world just shattered. This wasn't just a guest invitation, it was her escape plan. She wasn't building a life with me, she was using my money to throw a launch party for her new life with him. My first instinct was to just explode, to confront her, scream, burn it all down right then. But then a cold, sharp thought cut through the rage. She wanted a scene? Fine, I'd give her one, but it would be on my terms, my timeline. From that moment on, I was the perfect, devoted fiancé. I smiled, I nodded along with her last-minute plans, and I watched her spin her web of lies, all while I was weaving a net of my own. The wedding day came. I felt weirdly calm, like the eye of a hurricane. The ceremony itself was an out-of-body experience. I watched myself say, "I do," slide the ring on her finger, and kiss the woman who had completely betrayed me, all with a serene smile. She must have thought she'd won. She had no idea the main event hadn't even started. We walked into the reception to a huge round of applause. Everything was perfect, exactly how she'd designed it. Guests found their tables, champagne was poured, and the band started to play. My best man, who knew everything, gave the DJ the signal. Right when our first dance was supposed to begin, the DJ's voice boomed through the speakers. "Ladies and gentlemen, we have a small, last-minute change to the seating arrangements. The groom has requested we give a special shout-out to a very special table." A spotlight hit a single, round table right next to ours. It was table 9, or it used to be table 9. The DJ continued, "Would the occupants of the newly named Table of Homewreckers please give us a wave?" A confused murmur went through the crowd. I had worked with the venue staff earlier. The simple Table 9 sign was gone, replaced with a custom-printed placard I'd made. In beautiful calligraphy, it read, "A table for the bride and her secret lover." Right below it was a blown-up copy of Mark's most damning email. Sarah's face went from confused to pure horror as she followed the spotlight and saw it. Mark, sitting there with a few of Sarah's friends who were obviously in on it, looked like he'd seen a ghost. People at the tables nearby started to get up, craning their necks to read the sign. The murmurs turned into gasps. I picked up my microphone. "Don't be shy, Mark," I said, my voice cutting through the noise. "After all, you've been sleeping with my wife-to-be for months. The least I could do is give you a good seat for the show." Then I turned to Sarah. Her face was gray, her mouth just opening and closing. "You see, Sarah thought our wedding was just a party," I announced to the room. "A party I was paying for that she could use to reunite with the real love of her life. She was right about one thing. It is a party, a going-away party, for her." I dropped the mic on the table. The screech from the speakers was deafening. The room erupted. Sarah's father was on his feet, screaming at me. Her mother was sobbing. Mark was trying to slink away, but my groomsmen had formed a very polite, very firm wall. I didn't stick around for the fireworks. I just walked over to my parents, who looked shocked but proud, gave my mom a kiss on the cheek and said, "Sorry about the scene, but I think it's time we go." My best man was right behind me, and we just left the wreckage. My phone immediately blew up with calls and texts, a flood of hate from her family and friends, and a stream of shocked support from mine. I just turned it off. For the first time in months, I felt like I could actually breathe. The weight of her lies was gone, replaced by the clean, sharp satisfaction of justice. I didn't care about the money. I didn't care about the wasted time. All I cared about was that I had taken back control of my own story. The aftermath was messy, but not for me. My lawyer initiated annulment proceedings. Given the clear evidence of fraud, the entire marriage was based on a lie. It moved forward without a major fight. Sarah's family threatened to sue me for their wedding contributions, but their threats were just hot air. Every major contract was in my name, paid for with my money, and my father, a contract lawyer, had looked over everything. They didn't have a leg to stand on. From what I heard through the grapevine, Sarah and Mark's great love story imploded within weeks. Turns out, public humiliation isn't the best foundation for a relationship. She had to move back in with her parents, and the last I heard, she was working a dead-end job, her reputation in our social circle completely torched. As for me, I went on our honeymoon by myself. I spent 2 weeks in Thailand, not mourning a relationship, but celebrating my freedom. I came back a new man. It took time to heal, but I learned a hard lesson about trusting my gut. Today, I'm happier than I've ever been, in a new relationship with a woman who actually values honesty. Sometimes, blowing everything up is the only way to save yourself. So that's my story. Some might say I went too far, others might say it wasn't far enough. What would you have done? Let me know in the comments. For more stories about getting the last laugh, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you want to see another tale of karma working its magic, click on the video on your screen now. Thanks for watching.